Cyberbullying, how to spot it, how to stop it. We're going to dig straight into what this is, how it's impacting us as parents, how it's impacting our children, society, and what we can do about it. Very focused on the practical side of parenting children in this new age because they have extra challenges that we didn't have growing up. There is a whole new world with the online world that they have access to. And it can be a wonderful place. The online world is full of opportunities and amazing relationships and all sorts of stuff, but it is not the reality that our children are facing, and we have to help them navigate this new digital landscape. So we're going to be digging into cyberbullying, how to spot it, how to stop it, and how we can make this online space safer and saner for our kids. And a little bit of a spoiler alert, your child might be a victim and a perpetrator of cyberbullying. So we have to understand the whole landscape of cyberbullying so that we can really help our children with where they are at. I'm going to start us with a short video from a documentary called Childhood 2.0, and it is such a wonderful taste of how modern parenting has changed. You know, we were not given the tips, the tricks, the tactics, the strategies to raise children in a digital environment. And so it's understandable that you might be confused with what it is to raise kids, you know, in this digital age, help them deal with cyberbullying, the access that they have to the world of the internet and more. And that's okay. You know, we've moved from the question of how much screen time is okay. That has evolved into where is the screen time happening, with whom, what's on the screen, what time of day is it? These are the deeper questions that we have to ask ourselves in terms of how our children are interacting with this digital world. So it can be confusing to be an adult raising a child in this age, and we are here to partner with you. And as I said, this little video is going to be a great summary of the landscape that we are in and how normal we have to accept online parenting or digital parenting is. So let's have a look at that. I'll be back with you in just a moment.
A long time ago, families were in communities. They were local, they were small.
I was born in the very depths of the Great Depression. I was foot to work, carrying wood, carrying water. I knew how to shell peas, I knew how to break beans. We still didn't have electricity.
I have 2 Instagram accounts.
I use Instagram,
Snapchat, and TikTok.
TikTok and Fortnite.
I can just scroll for hours on end.
11 hours a day.
It's been 8, 9.
Maybe like 12.
It's actually been a way that we can keep track of them out there in the real world where things really are scary.
The lives of kids were sort of changing slowly for a while. And then all of a sudden, most kids were able to get on social media, and that's when everything skyrocketed.
The rates at which they're experiencing problems continues to increase.
We also know that the teen suicide rate increased 56%.
Last year alone, we received over 18 million reports of international and domestic online child sexual abuse.
We have traded a false sense of safety and security for actually putting our kids in riskier situations.
I call it the race to the bottom of the brainstem. So it starts with techniques like pull to refresh.
Pretty much every guy has like an addiction to it, but no one talks about it.
But it's just faster now, and it's younger.
Well, yeah, like nudes of girls go around the school all the time.
At the beginning of the year, there were multiple suicides before school even started.
There were men that wanted to talk to children at all hours of the day and night.
Don't be shy.
On Snapchat, one thought it'd be a funny idea to talk the other one into committing suicide, and she did it. She's dead.
After about 6 weeks, we were able to crack his phone.
Kids right now are going to experience the worst of what we're going through.
I'm a little nervous.
It's the first for everything.
Do you think your parents know that this happens?
No.
My kid won't do that. My kid would never. My kid's school isn't like that. You're wrong.
Because what they see, they feel neurologically compelled to do.
Right now, we're effectively living in an experiment. How is this going to affect us? We'll find out.
Okay, so we have to deal with a little bit of an elephant in the room, and that elephant is called NMK, not my kid. And if that phrase popped into your head while you were watching the little teaser trailer that we just showed you, we need to deal with that straight away. We need to deal with the fact that a lot of parents, and I put myself in this bracket, are overwhelmed by everything that parenting involves. And to add on to that, the idea that our child might or our children might be facing something really huge, too big for them to handle online, is often too much. And so that's where Not My Kid comes from. It comes from parents not wanting to look at this Pandora's box, as the trailer said. The fact that there is a whole side to parenting that might be ignored. And it's easy to ignore if we say Not My Kid. We're here to break that down right now, because at the core of it, it's your relationship with your child that we're talking about. We're talking about getting curious about a whole new world of online reality that you might not be aware that they are dealing with. It's not enough to assume that because you haven't given them a device, or you've got some systems in place at your home, that they're not dealing with it. We have to be in relationship with our child, talking about it. And when it comes to cyberbullying, your child could be a bully and a victim at the same time. We have to accept that even good kids make bad choices. The cards are stacked against your child in terms of how they approach being online and making decisions. And so it's up to us as parents, as teachers, as mentors, to guide them to know the difference between how they can act online, how they can act in real life, and to help them with choices that'll make sound, developmental experiences for them, because it is impacting mental health and it is impacting even physical safety. So we need to know what's going on online with them, and we have to stay connected with them. And that is at the core of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what we're seeing in South Africa to really just nail this Not My Kid idea dead into the ground. Just recently, I was chatting with a parent who's been involved in this work, in this digital parenting, online parenting, for over 4 years. And their child was a victim of sextortion, was a victim of sending nudes online and being manipulated. So this can happen to everyone, and it will happen to your child at some point. Maybe not sextortion, but it could be bullying. It could be, exposure to online content that is inappropriate. Either way, that's where these statistics come from. That there is just so many kids that have access to social media. They're in their phones, in their bedrooms late at night with devices. There are very little parental controls. And this leads to a perfect storm of tired brains making very poor choices. So we've spoken to over 3,000 kids, and this is what they are telling us. They are seeing pornography younger and younger. And again, this is hopefully not going to point you in the direction of this is normal. This is an atrocity. This is something that we have to do something about. Because of that exposure, it's normalizing behavior that then can play out downstream as stuff like abuse online, which can then become cyberbullying. So we have to keep in mind that the content that our children are watching is impacting how they see the world, how they treat other people, very, very much based in science, that what our children see online is going to impact the choices that they make. Kids are telling us that their phones are taking over their lives, and cyberbullying, whether as a bystander or as a participant or as a victim, is absolutely rampant. 61% of the kids we've talked about saying they've seen bullying online, and an even higher amount of them being contacted by strangers. So these things all go hand in hand. So we're going to be digging into cyberbullying, but the fact is that it ties into all of these other physical and mental dangers that exist online, and it is a doorway into a conversation that you can have repetitively with your child. Okay, so let's define some terms here. What is bullying? It's not just rudeness and arrogance. It's not just a once-off, your child says something stupid, or they don't think something through and they say something abusive. That doesn't make them a bully, right? It gets thrown around these days all over the place, and especially with, when things are escalated to a school intervention or, talking to other parents, we need to make sure that we're on the same page of what bullying is. Okay, so bullying is mean, hurtful, critical, or untrue words that are repeated. Like, it's a repetitive action, and the intention is to harm. So it's not ignorance. It's not, a once-off occasion. It is something quite thought through, that I'm intending to harm you repetitively, and I'm going to be very hurtful in the way that I use my words. How it plays out online, digital drama, cyberbullying, it can even become hate speech, which then can escalate into, something that is much more serious. So it can be insensitive, innocent but insensitive. But what we're going to talk about is what cyberbullying is, why it's different and worse than bullying in real life, when and where it happens, and what the impacts and consequences of it can be. And then, of course, what you as a parent can do to spot it and to stop it. So on the lower end scale of hurt, we're talking about digital drama, right? This is, where people are just attracted to drama. And of course, a lot of actions online are driven towards engagement. I want to get likes. I want to get follows. I want to get interactions. And of course, creating drama is a very easy way to do that. So it's generally, sharing information that is intended to hurt someone, or, someone doesn't think about the consequences. It might not escalate to cyberbullying, that repetitive intentional harm. It might just be once off. But the reason that it happens is that children can reach a very big audience and can reach them immediately. And of course, they can include videos and images that will grab people's attention. And, because we can post anonymously online, that is what fuels a lot of this action. And a lot of bullies, whether it's digital drama on the low end or hate speech on, the very hot end, are using that anonymity to deliver this hurtful content. So cyberbullying is now when we have this intention to repetitively intimidate, harm, or upset someone. It's digital drama taken to the next level. And the piece here is that over the last few years, we've seen online bullying taking over from physical bullying. Physical bullying used to stop at the end of school. You go home. Now that bully has got access to your child in their phone 24/7, and that makes this a much, much harder thing to deal with. And of course, it's spiked due to social media just being, all over the place, and the children, all of our children being on there. Interactive gaming, which we're going to get into in a little bit as well, combining to, of course, impact our children because they're spending so much more time on these devices. So our child is there, the bully has access, and there we go, and around we go. So cyberbullying can take lots of different forms. It can be in comment sections of videos that your child has posted or been tagged in. It can be by sending memes and saying that someone is what the meme is showing. Pictures, videos, private messages, chatting with others online about someone else. And it can take a lot of different forms. So we're going to unpack some of those just so you have some more language to ask your kid, what was happening or what's going on. It can be harassment, so online threats or mean, aggressive or rude texts, tweets, posts, messages. It can be dissing, so just spreading lies, criticizing, judging someone online. It can be trolling, which is kind of baiting someone, sending a message that's untrue and getting them to get all angry about it. And just leading someone along, wasting their time, making them get all angry about something that the person posting actually doesn't care that much about. They just want to get under someone's skin. It can be flaming, so starting an online fight or trying to feed misinformation to two different friends and get them to kind of clash about it online. It can be called what's called doxing, so posting someone's personal information online or embarrassing videos or pictures. Basically, taking something that has been shared in a private space and putting it out into a public space. Fraping is pretending to post as someone else, so that can be really, really hurtful because we have to remember that our children's digital lives, their digital platforms, their profiles, they're assets to them. They see them appreciating and value with followers and engagement. And so if somebody gets into that space and then starts posting, imagine if someone was posting in your account online, how much mental anxiety that would cause you. Of course, masquerading, pretending to be someone that you're not. It's kind of like catfishing. So again, it's playing into anonymity, which we're going to be unpacking a little bit about from in later on in this conversation, speaking to why people are doing the things that they're doing online and getting a psychologist perspective. And then, of course, exclusion, which is huge for teens and tweens and kids. They want to be part of the group. We have a natural desire to be part of a herd. So when you exclude someone, it's very, very hurtful. So why is cyberbullying worse? Sticks and stones could break my bones, but words, well, they can hurt, and they do hurt. And again, this is because they have an unlimited audience. Generally, a bully and a victim in our generation would be the only two involved, maybe a few people watching. Now you've got hundreds, if not thousands, maybe even millions of people watching, which makes the hurt compound, because you're imagining all of these people attacking you and saying, bad things. These words and images are kept online, so there's a record of that hurt. And then for the victim, it just feels like every time, every person they're meeting, there's a reminder of that attack. There's no way to escape. You can't even get away from it at home because you need your device, you need your laptop for school. And you might not even know who the bully is, right? So you don't even know where to direct your anger or get something done about it, which makes it very, very difficult. Cyberbullying is rife because it is so easy. At least, when you were a bully in real life, you kind of have to put yourself on the line. You have to stand for this thing that you're doing. Online, it's not face to face. You use social media and games to bully other people. And important here is the bully never sees the impact of what they're saying. And that's huge because to really combat cyberbullying, we really have to try and connect the bully with the hurt that they're causing, which is very difficult online. The bully doesn't even know that they are bullying. I was a bully at school. Talk about this in my talks in schools. And I didn't realize that I was a bully until someone actually pointed it out. And fortunately, I was able to change. So again, your child might be bullying, and to them, it just might be teasing. It might just be hanging out with friends. And so that's why we have to have this essential conversation with our kids. Words can be interpreted differently by different listeners. So we have to be very aware of the impact of our words. And of course, online, that's a very difficult thing to do, which is why it's so rife. And it happens online because it's not just voice. You can create videos, you can do all the forms of bullying, doxing, masquerading, trailing, dissing, all the ones that I just mentioned. And it doesn't require you to be face to face. So it's very important that we help our children understand what bullying is. Even if we think they are not being bullied, they have to be able to engage with it and understand the impact of it. So a lot of it happens because people think it is just a joke, right? Especially those people that are exposed to a wider audience. And recently there was a 14-year-old movie star from a series called Stranger Things, Millie Brown, who experienced this cyberbullying. So it really can happen to anyone. And I'm going to show you the video because we really have to normalize this, that it can happen to anyone. The most successful kid in the entertainment business is suffering from this stuff. So we can't just assume that it's not going to be impactful to our children as well. So let's watch this short video that shows you a child's perspective, or gives you context of some of what even celebrities are facing, and then we can think about how it applies to our children.
Things breakout star Millie Bobby Brown, a victim of cyberbullying, quitting Twitter after she was attacked online with hurtful memes. Adrienne Bankert is here. She has that story for us. Good morning, Adrienne.
Good morning to you too, Robin. Most every post expressing how this is supposed to be humor, just a joke that no one's really buying. But it's enough to make the 14-year-old say enough is enough. And it's simply not funny. She's known for battling evil with her superhuman powers on Stranger Things.
No more.
But off-screen, Millie Bobby Brown is the target of bizarre cyberbullying that isn't only strange, but completely based on lies. The 14-year-old shut down her Twitter account Wednesday after being flooded by posts using the hashtag #TakeDownMillieBobbyBrown. There are Twitter users posting fake stories and memes falsely depicting Brown as homophobic and Islamophobic, describing made-up encounters with the star often in fast food restaurants. One writing, she saw him wear a gay flag pin and scoffed in disgust and pushed him to the ground. But others immediately came to Brown's defense, a user tweeting, she's just a kid. Your twisted humor has the opposite intended effect on her and her following.
It's the huge double-edged sword of social media. In this case with Millie Bobby Brown, people may forget she's only 14 years old. So this is a lot for a teenager to deal with, whether or not she's famous.
Brown, who has used her platform to speak out about social issues, has been a vocal supporter of the LGBTQ community.
Millie Bobby Brown has done quite a bit for the LGBTQ community. At the MTV Movie and TV Awards, she wore this ampersand pin, which is about our Together movement at GLAAD, which is about all marginalized people coming together to stand together.
Brown is not the first to leave social media after being a target of online harassment. In 2016, Leslie Jones quit Twitter for 2 days after she received racist and bigoted slurs online. And Star Wars actress Kelly Marie Tran deleted her Instagram after her page was hit with racist and sexist comments.
So even if most people don't believe those trolling her, fans say it can still be damaging. Brown and her reps have not commented beyond shutting down that account. And again, she's only 14.
She's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people outraged over this. It's ridiculous.
Thank you so much, Adrian. We appreciate it.
So there's a massive disconnect with how people treat each other online versus in person. And as you saw from that video, you know, it really does have an impact. And unfortunately, those of our children who actually stand up for something significant, values that you know, teach them at home, they're the ones that generally taking more, you know, taking more of the strain online in terms of if they've got a voice about something, they get identified as someone that can be, you know, persecuted online. So what is this? How is it that people act so differently online than in person? So even though, especially to our kids, because they don't have the context of you know, a life spent without technology, texting and chatting online can really feel like it's like you're talking to someone in person, but it's actually very, very different. And it's because of something called the online disinhibition effect. Let me try that again. Online disinhibition effect, which is where this freedom to that someone feels that they are communicating online with someone versus communicating in person. So the online disinhibition effect is this difference between how we communicate online and in person. So people feel safer saying things online that they would never say in real life because of this ability to remain anonymous and invisible behind a screen. And it's unpacked really nicely by a psychologist, Dr. John Sula. So let's watch that, and then we're going to be digging into when cyberbullying is happening and, of course, what we can do about it.
Often asked, why is it that otherwise nice people, all of a sudden when they get into social media, become lunatics in their expression and their language? And I think the answer comes from psychologist John Suller, who identified something called the online disinhibition effect. And that is when we are more likely to behave negatively online and use language and engage in behaviors that we would never normally do in a face-to-face conversation or a real-world environment. There's something about the digital realm that gives us a sense of anonymity. Even if it's not pure anonymity, where it's a fake screen name, even if it's my own name or email address or my phone number that I'm texting you from, I'm still more likely to do or say something that I wouldn't normally do or say in a face-to-face conversation as a result of perceived anonymity. There's something about the digital medium that promotes disinhibition. This is not a new concept. We're seeing it in technology, but anyone who took Psych 101 learned about Stanley Milgram and the electroshock studies, which were primarily to look at obedience. But what they also found was that when people were made to be anonymous, they delivered longer, stronger, even fatal shocks. So it's critical to understand the role that anonymity plays in online behavior and communication, and understanding disinhibition and having that self-awareness and having that self-regulation to say, is this something I would normally do or say in a face-to-face conversation, and should I say this online?
So hearing it straight from that presenter there, really the science behind this is, you know, undeniable. And now if we look at two big pieces here, when does this happen and where does it happen? This slide over here is the culmination of speaking to thousands of students. And what all of them have in common of when cyberbullying happens is it's late at night. And the reason we focus and zeroing in on this is that the easiest way to deal with this is to get devices out of bedrooms at night. The fact is that, you know, teens and tweens have developing teen brains and they need sleep in order to do this, right? So when they have their phones, their tablets, anything technological in their rooms at night, and we're expecting them to make this the wise decision of going to bed, it's just not going to happen. They don't have the brain development. The neocortex is not developed enough. And so we are letting them steal from themselves this crucial sleep that they need to take care of themselves, to, you know, make sure that they have good mental health and good physical health. So it's a no-brainer that devices need to get out of bedrooms. Now, if we combine that perspective with where cyberbullying happens, again, this is what the children are telling us: social media, gaming, WhatsApp. All of these are online connected platforms, right? Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, interactive games, messaging, like as I just said, WhatsApp. So this is where it's happening, right? So we can make a direct impact on where our child has access so that they are not victim to these kinds of things. And that is where we're going to be talking about a wonderful tool coming up. I want to show you exactly how we can make this first layer of protection very simple, which is around age restrictions, right? Only 1 in 3 parents is checking age restrictions, and that has to change. So you need to be more than just that 1 parent in 3 that checks age restrictions. You have to understand that the social media platforms, the game platforms, they are creating their own age restrictions for their platforms, right? They are not making those decisions based on educational backgrounds or developmental psychology backgrounds. They just want to get as many users onto that platform as possible, which is why they put them as young as possible, which is why we need a third-party independent source to verify what age is this social media, this game, this tool, this app, what is it appropriate for? And that's where we're going to rely on Common Sense Media. So I want to show you a very quick interactive little engagement with Common Sense Media so that you can see firsthand how useful it will be in your parenting, your digital parenting toolkit. So let's jump across there and I will show you exactly how you can use commonsensemedia.org. Okay, so here we are in commonsensemedia.org. It is a fantastic resource. You can see right here, you can have a look at movies, TV, books, games, podcasts, apps, YouTube. And what's great about it is you can go in and click on an app, and not only will you see the age ratings that they put on these apps, but you can also see what parents put on it and what children put on it. So let's have a look at, let's go to Instagram right now, because that's obviously a very, very popular one. What's great about this, you can see what Common Sense Media says the age should be. You can see what other parents are saying, and you can see what kids are saying as well. You can get a little video of what is Instagram like. You can see some screenshots of what's going on there. You can see the different themes that are around in this platform, what you need to know about it, all the information that you need to know about it. And then, of course, we got some great recommendations from the editors on, cool apps that your child can use instead of this app. So what's it about? Is it any good? What can you talk to your kids about? Fantastic. Very, very useful to look at here. And of course, on Common Sense Media, you can, look at all of these apps and videos. Fantastic resource. And just have to say to any teachers that are out there, please have a look in the top left here. There's a tab for educators. And if you click on that, you can get access to a whole bunch of digital citizenship curricula that you can teach children about how to stay safe and sane online. So an absolutely golden resource, commonsensemedia.org. Definitely where you want to be in terms of making sure that your children have access to the right kind of stuff online. So definitely check it out. A very useful tool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about trash talk. This is where the world of gaming impacts cyberbullying. And, trash talk is just basically the way in which children describe how they talk online, joking banter that can often, leak into the real world. It's again, it's the fact that this online world and offline world gets blurred, and things that are said and often anonymously or in a banterish place online then translate into the day-to-day kind of decisions and ways in which our children are acting in real life. So let's hear from a gamer. This is a clip from a recent interview on 702, and this will give you an insight into what may be happening in your child's gaming world, which is then leading to the kind of behavior that will constitute cyberbullying.
Hi, 702. I'm a 38-year-old gamer. I play a game called Call of Duty Warzone. There's a couple of these games out there that we play. I play with people ages 65 years old to as young as 12 years old. We're all playing with each other, shooting each other. Now, we can all talk to each other. You can talk to the guys on other teams. And for me, the worst thing about playing it, which why I always mute my microphone and my headset, is to hear how these kids swear. They say the most disgusting things, swear at people's mothers, racial, it gets so bad. To one point that the makers of the game had a whole thing about trying to get against racism, trying to get these kids to just stop, or kids or people to just stop being racist on this format. It seems to be a go-to when somebody kills you and you get frustrated. After school, school nights, 3 o'clock in the morning, these kids are playing, and you can't miss them. They're talking, and you wonder what their parents are doing about it. But yeah, I'm 38, so my parents don't mind.
What that gentleman now was talking about is what's leading into definitely the realm of hate speech, attacking someone because of their race or, their cultural group or their sexual orientation, whatever it is. That attack can then escalate very, very quickly. And the impacts of this, there's mental impact, feeling upset, embarrassed, emotional, the feeling of shame, losing interest in things that our kids love doing. Physically, if your child is, just tired all the time, experiencing symptoms like headaches. There's been studies that show that actually, this sticks and stones idea is not that true, and that when we do feel our status is a threat, that we will be rejected by a group, it can actually be a physical experience that our kids are going through. The consequences, of course, massive mental instability, depression, can even lead to suicide in some very sad cases. Expulsion from school, could even be criminal charges if there is evidence, again, that your child is a part of bullying someone. And there can be serious legal consequences. It is a crime in the South African law. When we look at spotting it, what are some of the signs that we can look for if our child is either a victim or potentially even a bully, but on this side, more a victim? It's a lot to do with isolation, and it can be very daunting for children to speak out about it, especially because one of the big reasons that children won't speak out about it is that they don't want their phones to be taken away from them. So you need to preempt that. You need to talk to them, tell them that we're on a learning journey, that your phone won't get taken away forever, but we are going to learn about bullying. So there might be physical changes, loss of weight or appetite, trouble sleeping, avoiding school or anywhere that they might see some of the people that are hurting them, or that have seen the content of them being hurt online. Obviously, mood swings and just unexplained behavior, loss of interest in hobbies, wanting to quit social media. That's a big one because obviously they are on it pretty much all the time. So when they quit or want to get away from it, there could be a very strong reason there. So what do we do, guys? Let's dig into that. Well, the big piece here is that our children need to be reassured that you are on their team, that they're not going to get punished for the fact that they've made a mistake online, whether bullying someone or being bullied or not telling you about it, whatever it is. They might feel embarrassed, they might feel ashamed. And so they don't want you as well to go then talk to this other kid or, get teachers involved. So you really have to show up in a way that is super present and super calm. You need to breathe through it. Go and deal with your own emotional stuff before you start engaging with your child. You need to reassure them that you love them, that you have their best interests at heart, and that their phone might be going away, but it will come back in the future, that we just need to get over this little bump. You need to collect more facts from your child about what's going on. If you can, collect evidence as well. Generally, children want to block and destroy all of the evidence before it even gets to your attention, which again, having this conversation before you see anything wrong is a great way to normalize it for when it will happen. You need to save those screenshots, get the facts, work out a plan together that, okay, you're going to step away from the device. I'm going to go and collect some more information. We're going to make sure that nobody else is being impacted here. That's a very good one as well. Helping your child understand that they can protect other children by doing something about what has happened to them. you definitely want to, block and report that child once, or that bully once you've collected some information. Change the settings on that device. And, again, we've got more content at Be in Touch around changing settings with different apps. Common Sense Media is going to be a really great asset there. If you can identify the bully, you're going to want to escalate this to the parents. And again, you're going to need evidence, because that parent has also got not my kid syndrome in their head. So you need to get around that with actual evidence. And then if you need to, consider contacting the school as well, because generally a bully will have a lot of victims. And of course, if there's actually a real threat to your child's safety, you need to contact authorities immediately. And again, reach out to the Be in Touch team, and we can point you in a direction there. So I want to teach you some very easy ways, very simple kind of acronyms and ways in which you can teach this to your children. So the first one is stop, record, block, report. Look at the order there, right? Stop is to take a step back. When your child is getting bullied online, take a step away from the screen. Then you need to record. You need to get screenshots. You need to save the content so that there's evidence of why you are concerned. Then block and report that person that is bullying you online, and then talk. You need to tell someone that you trust. So you can teach this to your child. You need to give them the language and the permission to block people online, to record people online that are doing stuff that they don't appreciate, and that they can come to you to talk about it. Another great one is the THINK acronym. THINK. Tell our children that before they put this online, they need to think about this. This is great for kids that you think might be joking in a way that could be construed as bullying. It could be, kids that are responding to stuff that they've hurt, been hurt online, and might, just kind of exacerbate the problem. Think, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? A very, very simple way to think about helping your child, understand what it is that they're posting about, and whether it is something good to post about. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it going to help people? Is it inspiring, necessary, and is it kind? The other big piece here is that we need to empower our children to be upstanders, right? So observers of cyberbullying are either an upstander or a bystander. If they're bystanding, and there's actually legal precedent here that if they're in a WhatsApp group or some social platform where bullying is occurring or hate speech is occurring, and they don't stand up, they are somehow involved, because they are not actually putting a stop to it. So we want to give our children the power to be superheroes, to be upstanders, to do something about it. So how do our children become an upstander? So we want to help them understand that bullies are not bad kids. As I said, I was a bully at school. I just had no idea that I was bullying. I thought I was just teasing this person, and it was only when they wrote me a letter that I could actually see the connection between my action and the consequence of that action. And then I changed very, very quickly. So we want to put our children in a position where they can help bullies understand what they are doing. So that's what being an upstander is all about. It's about defending or supporting a person being bullied. They can reach out to the victim directly, find out how they're doing, address it with the bully, and definitely do that with more than one person at a time. Never go and deal with the bully one-on-one. Tell a trusted adult and raise awareness about this. Just normalize the fact that children need a little bit of a hand up in the cyberbullying space. Now, something that parents often don't want to even think about is my child a bully? Again, that was me. And it may just be that you need to have a conversation with your child to help them understand the impact of their behavior. Does your child exclude other children? Are they very concerned about being popular? Are they intolerant of different kids or other kids? Are they critical of other people's successes? Do they tease and taunt? Do you get a sense that they're a little bit more kind of hurtful than they should be in their way in which they joke with their friends? And if it is them, you need to have that conversation with them. You need to talk to them about cyberbullying. You need to talk to them about the example of me being a bully and not realizing it. Do some digging into, do they really understand the impact of their behavior? And if you can get information from other parents, friends of your child, find out what they say about them, because often a bully is really, teased behind their back by a lot of people, and there's a fear piece that they never get that feedback, and that can be really hurtful to them. Okay, so some of the solutions that we definitely need to be looking at is parental controls. We firmly believe that in this day and age, all parents have to have some form of parental control device, some form of digital sense that is tracking their children online. Whether it's cyberbullying, grooming, self-harming, you definitely need to use something. We like 2 of them. Bark is the one, which is great for older kids that have access to the internet directly through a SIM card and have social media. It's an app that tracks what your kids are doing and gives you a notification if something bad is happening, and then helps you talk to them about it. Griffin, on the other hand, is a home security solution that is going to give you an easy portal to manage all of your smart devices and make sure the content that's coming in is vetted before it lands. Some of our top tech tips: get some family tech rules in place. Set up what the consequences will be for breaking those agreements, whether it's devices in bedrooms or it's actions online. Your child needs to know where the limits are. Get those parental filters in place so that you can manage their gaming time, their social media time, and filter unwanted content. Change those settings on the apps and games themselves to make sure they're appropriate for your kids. Get devices out of bedrooms at night. That is a number one action for everyone at the end of the webinar. And then keep checking in and checking up with your children. And remember, stay connected. You got to keep talking to your kids about this. It's not a one and done. And Luke Lamprecht, one of the child protection officers we work with, has a great saying: you are not your child's best friend. Get your own friends. You are your child's parent, and you need to hold the line for them while they are too young to hold it for themselves. So join us on the journey as we help you to be alerted. Again, Bark and Griffin are going to be great options to help you be alerted. Be in the know. Check out our resources. We've got great guides on our resource page. We've got a great blog. Got great newsletters coming out all the time. So make sure that you're staying up to date with what is changing all the time. And of course, be conscious. Get tools in your home that'll help you be the digital parent that you need to be. Get charging stations that give you a reason and a place to put those devices at night. If your child wants a phone or a torch or an alarm clock in their bedroom at night, get them an actual torch or alarm clock. Get those parental controls. Of course, follow us on social media. Be inspired. It's going to take a sense of humor to get through this alive, and it's not going to be something that we do in isolation. So join in with the community, post your questions, post your answers, and let's do this together. And of course, we are here to be in touch with you. So reach out to the Be in Touch team and ask any question that you have so that we can make sure that we are keeping your kids safer and saner online. Thank you so much for being a part of the new parenting revolution. And we look forward to your kids being safer and saner online.